Okay, we're going to show you how to create an estimate. Now, in order for you to create an estimate, you first have to find the customer that you're looking for. There's two different ways you can find a customer. One is you can click on this Find button up here at the top. And this Find button, once you click the Start Find here, it will allow you to search based on the customer's first name, last name, the type of car it was, a VIN number, or a tag number, whatever it is that you feel like that you need to search that customer to find it. Those fields are all searchable, and it will pull up just that customer's information. But we're not going to do a find this way, and I'll talk a little bit more about how this find field works in a different video, but we're going to do a find by looking in our status sheet. Alright, our status screen right here shows all open invoices of customers that you have in your shop currently at this time. And I happen to know that this customer's name is Laura, and so I'm going to click on her invoice. And this will take me directly to the main invoice. And you can see Laura Rodifer's up here, and here's her car. Okay, this is the estimate screen. This is where everything happens. Your estimate screen is tethered directly to your invoice screen. But everything that's in your estimate screen is just an estimate. And what I mean by that is until a customer is paying for the repair, nothing will show up on your invoice screen until you click on this button and carry it over to an invoice. So any adjustments that need to be made need to be done to the estimate screen first, and then you will come over here and click and carry it over to an invoice. But that's typically done when a customer's sitting in front of you and they're ready to pay. So currently what we're going to do is we're going to focus on the estimate screen, and I will talk a little bit more about the invoice screen in a later video. So right now I'm going to show you a couple of different ways to create an estimate. We're going to talk about a transmission. So normally how you would create an estimate for a transmission rebuild is you would use these quick jobs over here. And in another video I will talk with you about how to adjust these quick jobs to customize them for your shop. But right now we're going to pick a banner rebuild, and what that does is that populates the screen with the basic information that it takes to rebuild a transmission. So the first line will say that you did a performance check, and although your performance check is free with repair, if you're scanning the vehicle there's typically a $49 charge or whatever charge may be in your shop, but since they're doing the rebuild it's showing that the cost is zero. By listing the value of that performance check, it creates more value in your repair. And then of course you're going to have a rebuild kit. It's going to be $341. Every one of these are can prices that can be adjusted in your owner setup based on the way you would like for your pricing to show when you use this can job. You're going to always have a torque converter. You're going to have fluid to install. You're going to have the labor to install that transmission and the labor it takes to rebuild it, and a filter and shop supplies. So with that being said, this is your basic can job that would list on your screen. And again, all this information is editable within your owner setup using these quick jobs. Now, I'm going to come in here and I'm going to add a hard part to this because it's not uncommon to rebuild a transmission and need other components beyond the basic rebuild stuff that it takes to rebuild that transmission, such as this transmission needed a pump assembly. I'm going to come in here and add a pump assembly, and as I start typing it automatically starts searching for anything that has the word pump in it, and as you can see it shows pump assembly. So I don't have to continue on typing, I can just simply hit my enter key and it takes me to the quantity field. Of course it's quantity of 1, and I hit my tab key and I enter on over to, is this a new, used, or reconditioned? It's a new pump assembly, and that new pump assembly is $325.25. And I hit my tab key and it puts it in here under the parts section. Now I want to bring to your attention this description field here. When you're typing into this description field, it automatically assumes everything that you type into this field to be a part, such as if I type in the word note, and I want you to pay attention to the parts category and the labor category up here on the pricing. When I type in the word note and I hit the tab key and I put the quantity of 1 and I set it as new and I put it in as $100, watch what happens to the parts and labor. You will notice that the part field goes up by $100. The labor did not. The reason the labor doesn't go up is because everything you type into this description field assumes it is a part versus a labor. The very first word you type into this field needs to be labor, and then what will happen, it will reduce this field by $100, that's your parts field, and it will add to your labor field $100 when I simply hit the tab key. So it's pretty simple. All you simply have to do is just make sure the first word in your description, regardless of whatever that description may be, needs to be labor if you want that price to show up under the labor column. If you do not type in the word labor as your first word, and I'm going to remove that labor name from the very first part of this word, and you're going to see that it reverts back to the labor coming down by $100 and the parts coming back up by $100. But since we're not going to show note on our invoice, I'm going to remove this one line. Now what's cool about this is you can come over here to these red buttons and you can click on this line right here, which shows to be line 11, and once I hit this red button, it will automatically delete that one line for you. Now what I want to do is I want to add another part to this. I want to add a sprag assembly, and as I start typing out the word sprag, as you can see, it gives me, a few options here that has the first few letters, SPG, but I'm looking for sprag. So I'm going to click on sprag, and it's quantity of 1, and of course it is a new part, and I'm going to put the sprag assembly cost $125.36, and it brings my parts total up by that amount. But in addition to this transmission repair, we have also added a motor mount repair to the vehicle. So I'm going to type in the word motor. As you see, when I start typing in the word motor, it doesn't have motor mount. So I want to add that field to this invoice so that I don't ever have to type out that phrase again. So I'm simply going to click on edit, and I like to keep everything in order. So I'm going to come down here to where motor is at, and I'm going to type in motor mount, and I added that to the field, and all I simply did was I came behind one word, added a space by hitting the enter key, and then typed it into that field. Once you've done that, you simply hit OK, and then you come back to a blank line again, and as I type in the word motor, you can now see that motor mount is already in that field. Now we've added this motor mount to this vehicle. This is another repair beyond the transmission, so it was a quantity of 1. It was $170, but there was an additional labor to install this motor mount beyond this labor up here to install the transmission and the labor it takes to rebuild it. But what's cool about this program is if you come down to the line below a part, and if you want to add a labor to install that part, you simply hit the little blue button over here to the right directly below that part, and it says labor to install part. It adds it on there for you, and when you hit the tab key, you put in what that labor time is. It took 2 hours to install that mount at $85 an hour, and you can put in whatever your shop labor rate is. It now added that labor time directly to the labor total up here at the top. Now this customer came in originally, and we towed this vehicle in, and the program has an area right over here, and it says send this to estimate. This is your tow. This is how much it costs you to tow that vehicle in. And if you want to send this to your estimate, you can simply just hit this blue button, and it will automatically add the tow right here at the bottom for you, so that you can add this as a cost of doing the repair. Now sometimes we have free tows with repair, and sometimes you're paying part of the tow. Whatever that field may represent on the cost for you, if that's a partial cost for that repair or if that's a total cost, you can add that to the field, and you can simply come over here and adjust it. So if you had free tow with repair up to $50, then if the tow cost you $65, then you can simply adjust this to $15, and that's the customer's portion of that tow. But if you are doing free tow with repair, I think it's best to come over here and add, you know, your tow cost on there, the value of that tow cost of $65. And if you're going to not charge for it, adjust that back to 0. At least it shows value on your job ticket to the customer and shows that you did give them that tow for free. But there's how much it cost them had they had to pay for it. Now this invoice is pretty much complete. Everything that we needed to add to the invoice has already been done. I've showed you how to add a hard part and how to add additional, parts that may include extra labor by utilizing, these fields here. Now the next thing you need to do is print this invoice. You can simply do that by clicking this quick print button right here. And when you come here, you're going to hit OK. This is your estimate screen and what it would look like. You would hit OK to select your printer. You want to make sure that it always says current record. It should default to that, but sometimes, depending on what you printed the last time, it may be stuck in a, records being browsed, which would print all of your records in your computer. But make sure it says current record and hit OK, and take you right back to your main screen. And you're still on Laura Rodifer's estimate. In another video, I will talk with you about job assignments, your production status screen, this analysis tool for sales, and these canned jobs and how to adjust them. That's it. That's how you create an estimate.